Yeah. Well, there's some interesting things. I mean, for one, I guess I'm always happy to see people get sober, but the truth is that most of the time somebody's like sober record sucks most of the time.
Right, right,
you
right.
know, but this is like this song at least it doesn't feel like or sound like a sober song in a bad way, if that makes sense. Like it's still like super high energy. I would say it's like heavier than a lot of the stuff you've been doing recently. So, it's not like, oh, Caleb's sober, now he's going to make boring, country songs.
Right, right. I mean, I do agree. I think there is something like about that the tortured artist thing, the cliche everybody talks about. I feel like for a lot of bands, their good records were the records where they were like kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And like talking
Unfortunately,
about
it's
that.
true.
Yeah, and I mean that's been every Beartooth record. And like whether that be fucked up. I mean, I've definitely made records like fucked up. Like below, I was pretty drunk for a lot of that. Honestly, I like at least a lot of those vocal sessions, a lot of those lyrics. But I think in a weird way, that was like something I kind of needed to go through. It was one of those things where like after that record was done, I was like, this is just fucking brutal. Like this is just gruesome. Lyrically, there is not an ounce of anything but self-deprecation and like, you know, basically it's just a whole record about like being in love with the devil and like fucking it's why you know what I mean? Like it's just dark shit.
And you
And
can't live that way forever.
no, it doesn't sustain. And like I don't know. I think for me, why like cutting booze really helped me was just the way like my my creativity works in like bursts. I'm very, ADD or whatever was going on in the early 2000s they were giving kids medicine for. And I I think I get hyper focused on something. And it's like I have these, sometimes it'll be for an hour, 2 hours, sometimes it'll be for 12 or 24, sometimes it'll be for a month and then I can't do anything, who knows. But I felt like during Below, I mean, I wrote most of the music for that record on tour where I'm on an endorphin high. I'm playing shows. We're on tour with this co-headliner with Motionless in White that's selling out. It's biggest thing we've done. It's, everything's firing on all cylinders. And I'm still like partying and stuff. I'm not out of control. And it was just kind of like, it was just really good vibes. Wrote the music for that record. And then in like probably, 2 months, month and a half while on the road. And then, the lyrics and finishing the record, like literally just singing on it, dialing in little bits here and there, and finishing it took me until mid-December, from March 2020 to mid-December at home during COVID with nothing to do. You know what I mean? It was like, that to me is kind of a way that I describe the difference where like Riptide took me, a few hours.
Right.
That's the
Right.
difference is that like when I'm really drinking hard, it's like I get in this rhythm where I just can't find a groove. I just can't. And like when I quit drinking, it just felt like also I'm sure, I've kind of like leveled out now, but when I first stopped, I was on this crazy, like my endorphins are going nuts. You know what I mean? I just felt like I was on fire for like, I don't know, a few months. And exactly. Yeah. In a great way. I mean, and that was the catalyst for, I don't know, a bunch of the choices that I've made and kind of who I've tried to be, whatever version of myself I am at the moment, that I'm a really big fan of and I'm really happy with. So like, I don't know. I mean, I know you've dealt with
Yeah.
various things in your way, your family, whoever it may be, like, the difference of when you're sharp and when you're not.
Yeah.
And for me, like alcohol was just the one that, that was the one that got in the way.
It's such a shitty drug. Like
dude,
it's worse than like, it's maybe not as bad as like fentanyl, but it's not fucking far off. It's like, such a bad drug.
I will say it, like I have had some incredible times drinking. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't regret a lot of it. What I do regret is the times that I knew I was not completely in control of it, and I kept deciding to not do anything about it. Those are the only things I regret. But that's part of the process, I guess. Yeah. I would assume. But like, yeah, I mean, it just numbs. And like, for a lot of people, they can just shut it off and like go back to normal life. And it's like my wife drinks. We've drank together tons, and she's British. She can go on benders and then like be not want to touch alcohol for a month and it not even be in their mind at all.
Right.
And for me, it was one of those things where it's like, I especially during COVID, it was like when I got off tour, like, it was like, oh, we can drink all the time and it's like a novelty. And then I honestly don't remember probably mid-March to maybe July of 2020, nothing.
Oh, wow.
It was just a monotonous, I like bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was like, it was not good.
That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Was that scary when you realized it?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I remember it was like October of 2020. I don't remember what exactly it was. It was just, I don't know. I woke up outrageously hungover, and I like texted one of my good friends who he had quit drinking, got really into fitness. He'd been one of my best friends since I was a kid. His name's Jesse Burkett. He's amazing. Fucking killer dude. Personal trainer now, turned his life around. It's like fucking huge inspiration. But I remember hitting him up probably like October of 2020 and being like, yo, I need to like get in shape, help. And he kind of like helped me start my fitness journey. But I was still, I had tapered back my drinking a lot. I was only drinking maybe a couple of times a week. But even then it was like, why am I fucking drinking a couple times a week? Like what is this doing for my fit? Like if fitness is the goal, this is doing absolutely fucking nothing for me.
Right.
And then, that couple times a week turns into every day again, turns into whatever in the cycle. And, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, as many good times as I've had on alcohol, it's just like, we don't get along anymore. I don't know if it's forever, but I don't see myself wanting to drink again. Really just because of, I'm past 6 months of it now. I'm right. 7 months and like 3 days. But it's just one of those things that was like, I drank so fucking much in my 20s. Like I partied. I did it. It's like,
when I lived in Columbus, I drank 6 or 7 days a week for like 4 years.
Yeah, you get it. You know what I mean? I'm good. Life.
Yeah.
You know it. You've done it. And like I've toured and I have always been on so many tours where we were the hardest drinking band on the tour, and we fucking did the thing, and we were fucking wasted and rock and roll. And it was like, well, surprise, that fucking sucks too. Like you're out on tour and your voice sucks and you're out of shape and you can't fucking play. And yeah, it's like, I've done it all. I have my time. I got plenty of stories. I'm okay. Me and alcohol are probably done. You know what I mean?